today. I have someone in the studio with me. I tell you, she recently participated in she did the best she could event. Anybody that was there, give me a hands up. Yay! It was none other than Liz Jordan. She was one of our panelists, and Liz is a life coach and founder of Emerging Life Coaching. And man, we were just talking off air, and we were swimming so deep. I said, whoa, we got to get on air. We got to catch this on air. So Liz, welcome to the studio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you are here.
Thank you, Dr. Dixon. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'm so glad to be here for this discussion. And I think that the timing is just wonderful, and hopefully, we could share some thoughts of encouragement for people out there, for women, or anybody out there is going through some issues of life, whatever it may be.
Yes, and like you were saying, that we're living in 2025, and people are going through issues. I mean, hey, if you're living on planet Earth, 2025 came in with a very challenging events, and now we're trying to recover and live out, but then we don't know when the next challenge is coming and all of that. And we were talking off air about she did the best she could and wrapping our heads around that, you don't necessarily have to make someone else's A. God honors your best. How does a person bring that into focus?
Absolutely. I think that the most important thing is really taking an inventory of oneself and, looking at all the wonderful things and gifts that God has given each and every one of us, and really honing in to identify, taking some quiet time, and just sitting down and looking at what fuels you, what fires you up, what do you think that your gifts and talents are. Write all of that down. And especially for 2025, the start of a brand new year, it's time to really just be a new elevated person, to be the person that you aspire to be. And it starts with taking some action steps and setting goals.
Action steps and setting goals. And now this I think is an area where most of us struggle. I know I do. I have to practice quiet time. Okay. And how does a person get into that? What's considered quiet time? How does a person get there?
Well, that's different for everybody because everybody, is on a different calendar, so to speak. Some people are very early morning risers, and some are people that like to go, and sleep in, like to go to bed early in the morning versus some people. So, what is that time of day typically that's your best time? You could ask yourself. But for a lot of people, early in the morning is really your best productive time because you've had a great night's sleep before.
Mm-hmm.
And so typically 6 to 8 hours, and you wake up after you have some coffee, maybe that can get you running, is to just start trying to form a habit. And maybe that quiet time, that amount of time may be different for everybody.
Yes.
But challenge yourself. That's what I always say to my clients is start with just a little bit of time, maybe 10 minutes.
Yes.
And if you're consistent at something, let's just say, everybody says that, we have to form great habits, right?
Yes.
So it takes about 30 days to form that habit. So taking 10 minutes of quiet time can just be sitting still and maybe listening to some great relaxation music. My recommendation is always get a piece of paper or a journal. Since it's 2025,
yes,
what a better way to start, and just listen to what the Holy Spirit is telling you, maybe open up a Bible
Right.
or just listen to some beautiful music, and that's really the best way to start.
Yes. And I'm going to I'm going to do a sharp curve here because I got that auntie side of me. Auntie showing up now. You know, it's a bad thing when you can't be by yourself. It's a bad thing when you can't stand yourself. And this is so important to carve out quiet time because quiet time will really tell you where you truly are, you know, as
Yes.
far as the depth of your peace within. If you can't stand yourself, you're in trouble. Now, let's talk a little bit about people that say, okay, I got issues being by myself. I have issues being quiet. And I just can't. I have to go shop somewhere. I have to go. I have to keep myself going. How does a person peel back the layers of that to get to a place where they can embrace themselves and love themselves?
Well, I think it really is a mindset change, number one, that needs to happen.
Okay.
Recognizing that in oneself, that I'm always going and doing, and I can't sit still and I can't be quiet. So that really is coming from a place where you have to be intentional about driving new habits and creating new habits. So what I would say is small dosage of trying new things. So maybe it could be that besides a quiet time early in the morning, maybe activity, because one can't sit still, right?
Right. Okay.
So maybe it's just walking in a park
Okay.
and listening to nature,
Mm-hmm.
observing nature, because it seems that, we are all connected in one way. So really being in the environment of nature seems to have a calming effect over you.
Right.
So that's really the first start. And also having a attitude of wanting to make a change,
Make a
okay?
change.
Because it starts there.
Yes, you got to want to
Yes, you
change.
have to. It has to start with a want to.
Yeah, and be patient with yourself.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes we put ourselves down, and if we don't make that mark, she did the best she could. We feel like, oh well, I just don't have it together. You know, some people even diagnose themselves and say, well, I'm this, I'm that. I have this mental illness. I have that mental illness. Eh, embrace the uniqueness of who you are and who God says you are.
Absolutely right.
Redefining who you are. So, are there different stages? Let's say we get to the place where we can be quiet, we can calm down. What would you, if you had to kind of define a person that have reached a peak in life where there's wholeness in their lives, how would you define that person?
I would think that definition from person to person has a little bit of different meaning,
Mm-hmm.
but getting to the point of wholeness is, identifying what makes you happy
Yes.
and what does that look like for you. And I think that, really scratching out some time to identify, so identification first, okay? And then setting action steps for what that means. So, for example, it could be that you want to have a change of position in your job.
Mm-hmm.
So, where are you now? And it's really identifying, um, what you want, where you want to go on that next transition, and just really making a plan for that. And I think that again, it does come down to mindset
Uh-huh.
It does come down to setting some goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, the goals have to have action, okay, behind it. So being more definitive in the goals,
Yes.
identifying goals. So an example for would be if you now we're in a new year of 2025 and
2025. Yeah.
I want to be more active. I want to get physically and healthy.
Yes.
It would be that I want to get healthy, or how are you going to go about doing that? It could be writing down, trying 2 to 3 days at the gym for 30 minutes. It's a starting point.
Yes.
And my point for, let me emphasize starting. It is an action step and one step at a time.
Right. One step at a time. So, as we, like I said, we came into 2025 with challenges, horrific things happened. Some people went through 2024 with one hurdle after another hurdle after another hurdle. And they actually came into 2025 with setbacks, whether it was medical, health, or financial, or emotional. And they're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. How does a person recover from a setback? I mean, something that really knocked you off your feet. How would a person recover?
I would say, it is looking at the situation and, um, looking at where you are, okay, and in your thought process in life. And overcoming is not an easy thing to do, but it's taking one step at a time. So, for example, if you evaluate, that there has been um, financial trouble, emotional trouble, relational trouble, what are some things that you can do to change the
Uh-huh.
situation? So it's identifying what you have been through and, writing it down in a journal
Uh-huh.
or a piece of paper and write down your feelings,
Right.
the
And
feelings that you have been feeling.
right. And not expect it to happen overnight, to change overnight. I love the way
Change,
you said one step at a
and
time,
one day at a time
one
too.
day at a time. Because sometimes we can be so impatient that we want it overnight, overnight, overnight. It didn't happen yet. I give up. But God always has an answer. And thank you so much for being here, Liz. What's your parting thought? How can they get in touch with you? And
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Just the parting thought is every day is an opportunity. Each day, realize that you are wonderfully and fearfully made and that you are a masterpiece. And so, how are you going to create your art today?
yes, yes,
And so, everybody, I just want to encourage you to really think about some of the things that you want to accomplish and know that anything is possible. So, Dr. Dixon,
yes. How can they get in touch
you
with
can get in
you?
touch with me. My number is 904-736-5337. And my email is Liz, Liz, emerging life coaching at gmail.com. And my website, it's a long one,
Uh
but
huh.
it's emerging life coaching.com. But I would say that the best way is my email. And I'll repeat that one more time if
Come
it's
on.
okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Dixon. It's liz.emerginglifecoaching@gmail.com. And again, thank you for the opportunity. I
And
really
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
being here. I tell you, I hope you're writing down some nuggets and everything, and your life will never be the same. Just put your hand over your heart right now and say, my life will never be the same. I look forward to meeting you again next week. I mean, come on, don't never miss this. A moment of inspiration. You're going to make it. God bless.